November is upon us. Thanksgiving is just a couple of weeks away, which is really hard to believe. So, with mid November also means it's time for my monthly real estate market update. Hi, this is Andrew with the Andrew Smith team at eXp Realty. And, this month I'm not going to go into a bunch of different stats and numbers as we have in some of the past months, but I did just want to cover a few trends, talk about, expand on some things we talked about recently, and also just kind of give some insights into the real estate market this time of year. Because one of the things I have seen and heard, for years and years and years is that, the real estate market's dead in the winter, that nobody does anything in the winter. And the funny thing is the fourth quarter of the year has actually been my busiest many, many times. Actually, over half of my entire real estate career, the fourth quarter has actually been the busiest. And to a certain extent, there's a little bit of a misconception that everything truly slows down this time of year. And I think that's especially true this year in 2019. And here's why I say that. So if you've caught any of the market updates I've done, the past few months, you will remember that we had talked about 2019 being the exact opposite of 2018. 2018 started really, really strong, and as interest rates rose in the second half of the year, the market kind of really lagged. And this year is the opposite. Interest rates have come down. They're about a full percent lower than they were a year ago, and the market has actually picked up. Now, with that, last month we specifically got into supply and demand and how supply and demand has an impact on real estate prices. Well, the good thing from a buyer or a seller perspective on supply and demand is a restricted supply is great for a seller. If there's very little to buy, it forces prices up, but that's bad news for a buyer. So, prices going up, buyers start to question affordability. However, the decrease in interest rates that we experienced kind of helped to counteract that. Well, for the past 3 months, we've actually seen the number of homes for sale, the inventory, go down, which is not unusual as we move into the fourth quarter of the year. What is a little bit unusual this year is that the inventory of new homes has also gone down, and it's actually quite a bit lower than a year ago, which is putting constraints on the housing market. And one of the things that we've seen that you don't always see this time of year is that the number of days on market have started to decrease. So homes are selling fairly quickly. And I'm seeing that in all of the markets that we operate in. In addition, price appreciation, which had leveled off. So obviously, if something's in high demand and there's a short supply, prices go up quickly. And that had come down. We weren't really seeing price appreciation, in the 7, 8, 9, 10% a year range. It had settled down. But that price appreciation is starting to accelerate again due to the fact that the inventory is actually so low. Now, the expectations are that the fourth quarter is going to finish very strong and that is going to continue into the new year. So if you're in the market to buy or you're in the market to sell, what exactly does that mean for you? Well, first of all, let's look at buyers. So from a buyer's perspective, the one thing that is good is that interest rates right now are hovering anywhere between 3.5% and 3.75%. And the latest information I've received show that they are expected to stay at about that level for the next year. Now, obviously that could change, but that's the projections right now. So that really helps when it comes to affordability. Affordability is not only your home price, but it is also job growth, wage growth, and interest rates. Wages continue to grow and interest rates remain low. That's helping to counteract the increase that we're seeing in home prices. Now, if you're a seller, traditionally you start to get a lot of sellers this time of year that think, well, I'm just going to wait. The traditional busy season is the spring. Well, yes, that's true. But the one thing that's different this year is because interest rates were so much higher earlier in the year and that buyer demand dipped a little bit, we've seen that reverse. Buyer demand and activity now is actually higher than it usually is in the fourth quarter. And that could be very good news if you've been contemplating selling your home. There's a lot of buyer activity right now. Showing Time, which is a showing service that tracks real estate traffic, is reporting that buyer foot traffic is up in every region across the country. So it's up nationwide. So if you are considering selling, you may not want to wait until the second quarter of 2020, the spring traditional busy season, because conditions right now with the amount of buyer traffic as well as the inventory, we're in a kind of a sweet spot right here. Which means that you could probably get the sale done in a shorter amount of time and you're going to get a good price without as much competition. So just something to keep in mind. So if you're interested in learning more or diving deeper into this, then I invite you to visit my blog. There's a link to the blog directly below this video, and I have a few charts and graphs that you may find interesting that kind of help explain this a little bit more. But overall, the market is finishing exactly as we've been talking about for the last couple of months. Buyer activity is great. Prices continue to go up and they're expected to climb. And, there's not really anything wrong in housing. Yes, we've talked about recession. Yes, we've talked about what could the impact be. But right now, unlike 2008, the housing market is very, very strong and looks as though it's going to stay that way for some time. Now, if you've got a specific question, please feel free to reach out. Give me a call, shoot me an email. I'm always willing and interested to go over and, hopefully share a few nuggets of information and or wisdom that might help you make the decision that's right for you and your family. In the meantime, I wish you and yours a very happy Thanksgiving, and we will catch up with you again for the December market update next month.